So this in the editor is called USA_USA. I think it's a pretty fitting name, but I'll let you decide. A couple of machine guns like just hanging out on this tank chassis, but who really cares? Like, what is this standing on? Oh, that's crazy. It's the Statue of Liberty, which for some godforsaken reason is not holding a torch. Alright, howdy folks, welcome back to the channel, welcome back to Gates of Hell. I haven't done one of these in a very long time. I don't think I've ever actually done one for Gates of Hell, specifically a mod review. Taking a look at the Mobile Fortress Vehicle Pack, a link to it will be down in the description below. Now, I've been wondering why this is called the Fortress Vehicle Pack when we have this weird sort of edited Goliath, and you have this 101st Airborne Trooper to sort of give you a sort of sense of scale to the vehicles we're going to take a look at today. Well, this is just not just a regular Goliath. This actually has a flamethrower as well as a machine gun. I should actually say a twin barrel machine gun. But this is really only the very beginning of what weird and insane stuff you're gonna see in this video. So now let's switch to the Goliath's bigger brother over to the left. So here is the E1000. I just wanted to showcase the size comparison. As we move over to it, you'll see this 101st Airborne Trooper is, yeah, he's very small in comparison. This is basically a P1000 Ratte turned up to like 100 million. This thing has mouse turrets. It has machine guns, but these are actually 20mm cannons. These pretty much fire automatically. We also have machine guns along the side, a whole 6 of them on either side, and we have rocket artillery in the back. So let's just fire all the guns on this E1000, which that's the 280mm guns. We'll just keep firing them. Then we have the mouse cannons, of course. Then we have these 20cm mortar launchers. A little inaccurate, but you know, they get the job done. We have these front guns, which are 5cm anti-aircraft guns. And I would show you these side machine guns, but you can't even manually fire them. But I just wanted to put this out there that there are a lot of vehicles in this mod, and my intention is to showcase quite a few of them in different scenarios. But I guess in the comment section, you should let me know what vehicle I should try out first. And before you start riding the E1000, this thing, you might want to take a look at some of the other vehicles you're going to see as part of this mod. So moving on, we have two T-34 variants, an F and an N, and here, of course, 101st Airborne Trooper for scale, and these are very weird. Now, this one, particularly, is going to be armed with a very fast-firing Maxim machine gun, and not just one of them. I think he has like 4 to 8 of them, and they kind of come out of the front of this. It's kind of hard to see, but you get the idea behind it. It almost looks like a Tunguska or Shilka now, but it just fires really quick. Now, that is the machine gun variant. This one, and I'm not really sure if it's a bug, fires anti-tank ammo. If we pause the firing, you can actually kind of see that it's not actually shooting anything. It's just purely shooting like 14.5mm PTRS or PTRD ammo. So I'm not sure if this one is fully finished, but it creates this super weird shrapnel thing. But I'm not 100% sure if this is actually working as intended, because if it is, I'm really confused by what it's supposed to do. You can actually see that this is firing like 14.5mm AT rounds. So interesting choice. There's actually a really cool thing I wanted to showcase about these. That if you spawn one of them in, you actually get this really cool animation on the front of the turret. It doesn't really do anything, but it looks really cool. Now let's move on to some Western Allied stuff. Here we have the Couch tank, which really just reminds me of the thing from Battlefield Hardline, where you had like a couch that you could drive. This thing armed with 4 Maxim machine guns and can hold a crew of 4. It has a smokescreen launcher. The fire rate on this is obviously kind of overtuned, perhaps. This is maybe the least impressive vehicle when it comes to the damage. I really even couldn't see myself really using this in a video and showcasing how amazing it is. But it's more just for the absolute trollability that you get from seeing 4 guys on the couch drive towards you. I kind of wish that these had maybe like a anti-tank gun or some anti-tank rifle. But let's take a look at that TOG with the tent on top. So this is a massive variant of the TOG tank, though it looks like they removed the turret added this weird quad machine gun Maxim to the front, which again, fires relatively rapidly, but it can carry an insane amount of troops on the back. We're going to unload this just so you can take a look, without me speeding this up, how long it's going to take for about 50 to 60 odd guys to get out of this. So it's a armored troop carrier, though it's not very well armed. It is very armored. And then, well, I guess the tent on top might not provide a lot of protection. But if we remove this 101st Airborne Trooper and showcase just how many guys are going to dismount this vehicle, it'd be very interesting to see one or two of these just charge an objective and start dismounting infantry and infantry and infantry. And I guess we can even use these machine guns on the front as a little bit of supportive fire. Another American vehicle, this is the T-95, or part of it anyway. You might recognize this from War Thunder or World of Tanks, or at least the chassis, this bottom quadruple tracked vehicle. However, the turret has been, as you can see, very much replaced, now coming with a 155mm tank gun and a quad, very fast firing 50 caliber machine gun in a coaxial position. The reload is fast, but not as fast as you would expect from some of the other vehicles we'll see tonight. So this is actually a relatively slow reload, but this is a very well armored vehicle, though the turret rotation is a lot faster than the hull rotation, though kind of to be expected from a T-95 chassis. And it is very well armored, though this is still not even one of the craziest vehicles, though the fact that you can just spam Willie Pete from 155, I should say, millimeter gun with a pretty fast reload. Having one of these, you'll probably end up crashing the game before you fire through a whole bunch of these Willie Pete shells. Alright, moving on to maybe one of my favorite designs, the KVI-24. This is really a KV-2 with a Dushcam as well as giant walker legs. This is, I think, one of the vehicles from the War Thunder April Fool's event from a while back. It's actually relatively rapid. It's got a good dish on the top for anti-infantry duties, and if you really need to blow something up, you have a 152. The reload on it is a little slow, but it is a very cool design. I love this thing. It's really cool to see. I believe there was quite a few of these, just different variants inside the April Fool's event. So maybe we'll see more of these down the line. But this thing is really cool. This is crazy. This is a World War II RTS, and somebody added an actual pretty good looking, even the walking, the animations are pretty good for this thing. Like, this is just working relatively well. This it still is not even half of one of the crazier things you're going to see in this mod. All right, let's move on to the KV-2332. This really reminds me of one of the droids from the CIS in Star Wars. Yes, this is going to shoot, rotate, shoot, rotate, shoot, rotate. By the time the third one is shot, the first one is ready to go. This is actually equipped with the Sturm Tiger ammo. It's a little slow driving, that is, but this is insane. This is legit insane. We can just lay waste to an entire village. The only risk that you have here is that you kind of fire too close to your tank, because if you do, you will most likely crew shock and perhaps even explode your own vehicle. But this is insane. We're just driving a full auto, basically, or very much almost automatic Sturm Tiger through this village, and we're leaving nothing in its wake. And this is really where the firepower of some of these tanks are starting to shine, though to be fair, the E1000 was of course pretty strong too. Let's move on to another KV variant. This is the KV-2222, though really it could have been called the KV-2222-2222, as in 8 KV-2s, because, very simple, this is basically 8 KV-2s in one. This has a lot of firepower, maybe not as much as the 180mm or 380mm Sturm Tiger vehicle, but I'm just holding left click. This is an actual fully automatic KV-2, or ISU 152 or SU 152, and this is actually very cool. If we set up the suppressive fire ability, it'll just keep firing. So this is personally one of my favorites so far, just for the sheer firepower maybe more so than the 380mm Sturmtiger that you had before, the KV-332, mostly because this fires a little quicker, and 8 152s is a lot of firepower. Then again, so is 3 380s, but this is just ridiculous. Anyway, this is still by far not the most ridiculous vehicle in this mod. So this is the PF100. It is basically a mouse on, guess what? Steroids, where every single one of these is a machine gun. It has a triple barrel and a 10cm mortar for close support. And it's also, for some reason, actually really fast for a relatively big vehicle. It actually has 4 tracks. It's pretty fast. It's got 12.8cm guns. As you can see, it can fire all 3 in rapid succession, and then there's a pretty long reload. And we can individually control all of these machine guns across the vehicle. And last but not least, we have this 10cm mortar, which isn't just a single fire mortar. It actually is sort of like a Nahverteidigungswaffe, which is this designed sort of mortar on some of the later war German tanks, which would explode anti-personnel grenades all around the vehicle to sort of stop enemy infantry from coming near. As you can see, we can also just aim it right in front of us. This makes this actually relatively useful for just a large cluster of 10cm explosions. And then again, we can go back to that 12.8. We can either single fire it, or, which is just more fun, it's way more fun to fire all 3 basically at once. But yeah, you get a 12.8, 6 or 7 machine guns, and that 10cm super crazy shrapnel mortar. Meet the KV-2600, which is really just a very weird T-28 with just, I can't even, this is starting to get kind of incomprehensible what is actually on this thing. These look like little machine gun turrets that you get on the T-28. Then we have these sort of weird separated T-28 turrets so they have a different gun, and we have a massive launcher on the top. This thing is not very fast. It comes with 20mm guns in these turrets. They aren't just regular machine gun turrets. Of course not. That wouldn't be fun enough. They actually are autocannons, not just machine guns. We get these 76mm guns, so they're kind of similar, I think, to T-28 guns, although their gun seems to kind of be off-center. We have a 152mm, just like on the KV-222, that just fires fully automatic. But we also get a massive middle gun, almost like an M3 Lee, one that you can't really control, like you can't really go out of your way. It doesn't have a turret, but this is going to cause a massive explosion. Let's try to hit this house over here just because we can. As you can see, that house is now gone. I believe that might be the Karl Mortar's ammo, or it has to be something along those lines. It says it's a 406. I'm not sure if that's a custom-made round, but either way, not a long reload and a massive explosion. This is also really one of the candidates I think that would be really fun to try out in a mission and see how much chaos we can cause and, well, basically just watch our enemies flee away, because this is just ridiculous. The KV-2600. We're actually reaching my personal favorite top 3 in terms of just absolute crazy. Remember wondering where the tank is? Well, it's floating. This is the D790 Barren tank. Barren as in B-A-R-R-E-N. And it technically floats, though I haven't found a way to make it float off its own. You can make it float in the editor, and then it just doesn't care. It just floats around. And this thing is just insane. It's equipped with a whole bunch of futuristic, like, this is like Terminator style weapons. We got 2 of these sort of like anti-aircraft autocannon guns. We have sort of mortar launchers that come off the back that fire 15 shells incredibly rapidly, and they cause a lot of mortar style damage, but it's really about this main gun. I'm gonna have to shut up for 1 second so you can listen. Which I think is something from like Command & Conquer Tiberian Sun, but you can see the vehicle locks itself down in like the hover mode. When you move, it has a little bit of a movement mode. It's really, really cool. This is such a, I have no clue what game or what this is from, but it's so cool. It's got insane amounts of firepower. You don't need to wait necessarily. You can just keep firing, as you can see. However, then the sound It's a little buggy when you fire a lot, but it is really, really cool. And this is definitely in the top 3 of insanely awesome vehicles in this mod. Though obviously this isn't very balanced, but it would be cool to use in a World War II scenario just to see how much havoc we can actually cause. So our skill model here in the form of the 101st Airborne Trooper will really show you just how insanely big this next vehicle is, called Cannon City in the editor, so that gives you an idea. This thing is massive. Yep, it is. It's just 2 elongated TOG tanks with a weapons platform combining them. Now this has a 6-barrel 20mm, 2, I believe, 17-pounder guns, as well with 20mm coaxials. We have a massive railway gun, which also comes with, I guess you could call these like coaxial 76mm or 105mm howitzers. This is just, it's silly. It's insane. This is the 6-barrel 20mm. We have the same sort of shell type as the KV-2600 had, or 2600 had. Then we have multiple guns, like I said, off to the side of the main weapon. We have the actual turrets on the TOGs, which then again have coaxial 20mm machine guns, or I guess really just 20mm cannons. So this really is Cannon City. But if I tell you that this is still not the most ridiculous thing, we're going to show you that one right now. So this in the editor is called USA_USA. I think it's a pretty fitting name, but I'll let you decide. This is a tank with, what is it, about 15 or 20 or so sort of rotating, floating double machine guns, as you can see, one on top, one at the bottom. But well, I guess there's a couple machine guns like just hanging out on this tank chassis, but who really cares? Like, what is this standing on? Oh, that's crazy. It's the Statue of Liberty, which for some godforsaken reason is not holding a torch. It's holding a triple barrel rocket launcher, which fires Calliope rockets. So personally, this might just be the silliest vehicle I've ever seen in an RTS. The tank is actually relatively fast. Like I said, there are some of these machine guns on the hull, though I would love to see this in an actual battle. It's also relatively fast, and it's really cool to see like the rotation capabilities on that rocket launcher in the torch. The actual rotation speed on this thing is crazy, but the rocket launcher itself has a lot of maneuverability, is actually relatively fast reloading too, as you can see. I mean, that's 1, that's 2, that's 3. You get to fire 3 Calliope rockets on every reload, and if anyone does come close to this USA_USA, or I guess we can call it like Liberty Prime or Liberty Primary or whatever you want to call it, this is going to destroy a whole lot of units. So I have a lot of ideas about what these vehicles could be doing, but I would really much want to see what you think in the comments section about this mod. If you think it's way over the top or just hilarious, let me know down in the comments, and also let me know which one you'd want to see me try out in the first video I'll be doing with this mod. And then I guess we'll see just what one of these is going to do in a combat scenario. With that, I hope you guys enjoyed, and I'd love to see you in the next one.